Hey, hi, hello, ladies. How's it going? How's it going? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Me, I'm doing fantastic, to be honest, because today we get to make fun of a fascist. We're going to be talking about the former lead singer of the band called the Misfits. And we're not talking about Danzig today. We're talking about the less talented, less fun, less cool guy named Michale Graves. Well, actually, he might not be less talented. That's not really all that fair, but he is far less cool. So before we get into this story today, Michale Graves is a fascist. My name is Dan Frampton. All one word, the O's a zero. I am the internet's most ruthless gatekeeper, and I want to get those likes and subs from you real quick. All right, with all that out of the way, let's talk about Michale Graves. Not this Michale Graves. This Michale Graves is actually an architect and a designer and is really well renowned. We're not talking about him. He also spells his name correctly. We're going to be talking about this Michale Graves over here. It all starts with this quote that I saw going around the internet, and it's a recent quote from him saying that the punk scene hates him. And I was like, well, we're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole because recently, over the last couple months, people have been canceling Michale Graves shows. This guy had a bunch of dates all lined up, and all the venues and all the promoters had to back out because of fan backlash. So we're going to be getting into all of that, all of the stories about this guy being a fascist, why he's a fascist, why he's losing all these gigs, and how he's coping with all this situation. So let's get into it right now. Again, not this Michale Graves, this Michale Graves, who spells his name Michale for some reason, but his name is actually Michael Emanuel, better known by the stage name Michale Graves. He sang for the Misfits from like 1995 to the year 2000. This was the most famous record that he was on. I think the other members of the Misfits during this time were Jerry Only, Dr. Chud, and who else was it? Who was the other guy? Don't get your pitchforks out, it'll come to me. I can hear you typing that comment right now. What was it? Doyle! Okay, anyway, who cares? We're not here to talk about the Misfits from 1995. We're here to talk about the fascist better known as Michale Graves. Well, why is this guy a fascist? Well, do you remember back in 2021 when the Capitol was overrun by these people, the January 6thers? Do you remember when all of this went down? Well, the Proud Boys are an organization that played a central orchestrated role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the US Capitol. And you might be thinking, who are the Proud Boys? Well, this is their logo over here. At first, when I heard Proud Boys, I thought it was a gay organization because of gay pride or whatever, but not that at all. Actually, the very opposite of that. These guys are fascists. These guys are white nationalists. In my country of residency over here, the Proud Boys are listed with the Taliban as a listed terrorist entity. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Proud Boys, neo-fascist white nationalist organization established in the United States in 2016. The group's members were noted for their misogynistic and anti-Semitic rhetoric, QAnon-related beliefs, and their support of US President Donald J. Trump, and their propensity for street violence. The Proud Boys were designated a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center and were designated a terrorist organization by the governments of Canada and New Zealand. So that's who we're dealing with over here, the Proud Boys. And now you might be thinking, okay, well that's the Proud Boys. What does Michale Graves have to do with the Proud Boys? Well, there were trials and people had to testify on behalf of the Proud Boys. And you know who testified on behalf of the Proud Boys? You got it, ladies and gentlemen. The star of today's story, Michale Graves. According to Reuters at the time, punk rock singer testifies on Proud Boys' behalf at sedition trial. A former singer of the punk rock band The Misfits testified on behalf of 5 far-right Proud Boy members on Monday. He was asked to perform for them the afternoon of January 6, 2021. Evidence their lawyers say they had no intention to attack the Capitol on that day. That is insane. We couldn't have attacked the Capitol because we asked Michale Graves to perform. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Jumping back into this article, Michale Graves, lead singer of the Misfits from 1995 to 2000, acknowledged that members of the Proud Boys may have been guilty of trespassing on Capitol grounds. But he said he did not believe they had any intention of targeting Congress. Well, they really wreaked havoc over there on January 6th. These are only a couple of the pictures of them outside of the Capitol. They made their way inside. I'm not here to go through all of this stuff all these years later. You know what January 6th is. And these are some of the very worst excuses I've ever seen, ever laid out. I can't believe that everybody fell for it. Not only did they fall for it, because they support Donald Trump so hard, and because Donald Trump values loyalty over anything else, as soon as Donald Trump had the pen, of course, most of these guys were pardoned and set free and all that sort of stuff. Some of the worst kind of guys ever, absolutely. But that's who we're dealing with over here. Michale Graves, member of the Proud Boys, terrorist organization according to Canada, beloved organization according to Trump, has now had all these concerts canceled all across the UK, and he's crashing out about it. So we're going to get into all of those details in just a little bit. But before we do, I want to tell you about my comic book over here, The Scrupulous MOSH-MAN, Issue 1, available now for only 99 cents. That's less than $1. You can get your hands on this thing at moshman.bigcartel.com. 99 cents, people. There's no reason not to. If you want to support me, if you want to support this channel, if you want to support all the wonderful creative things that I get to do and you get to enjoy for free, well, here's your opportunity to support all that. Keep the lights on in the studio. And not only just a frivolous $1, you get an entire story that I wrote, drew, inked, colored, lettered, all myself. 99 cents. moshman.bigcartel.com. All right, so now we're going to be moving into the modern day stuff. At the beginning of this year, on January 16th, 2026, we get this article over here. Proud Boys supporter draws backlash over upcoming Bay Area concert. Okay, so it's starting stateside over here. An upcoming Bay Area performance by punk singer Michale Graves has sparked backlash and calls for a protest against the venue that booked his show. So he's trying to get back out there, but it isn't happening quietly. And then later on, he tries to go over to the UK, and we get more articles saying ex-MISFITS vocalist Michale Graves faces UK gig cancellations amid ties to far-right organization. In Worcester, Councillor Neil Lawrenson has openly criticized the Mars Bar for keeping Graves on the calendar, calling him a fascist. Michale Graves has been cancelled across the UK, and I find it embarrassing that Worcester is still on the gig list. I think the Mars Bar should cancel the Michale Graves performance, as other venues have done in Bradford, Glasgow, Sheffield, Portsmouth, Swansea, Bournemouth, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Camden, Reading, and Oxford, he says. That is crazy. All these UK dates just be like, no Michale Graves, please and thank you. They don't want you there. They want nothing to do with you, Michale Graves. Then on February 20th of this year, the BBC themselves cover this fucking story. Music promoter denies supporting hate as gigs axed. I'm not going to read the entire article. It's basically everything we covered here so far in the video, but the fact that the BBC is covering it is what makes this noteworthy. But then going on from that, of course, Michale Graves is going to have his response to all of this. So we go over to his Instagram, and he has this to say, quote, "Over the past days, I've become aware of an aggressive online campaign of organizations and individuals focused on my upcoming shows in Europe. I respect that people may hold different opinions or choose not to attend these shows. I am very concerned that venues, staff members, and people simply doing their jobs are now being placed under significant pressure and distress, and in some instances being threatened to simply show up at their job." Well, buddy, if they take you off the bill, that opens the date for someone less fascist to come in and run the room. It's not like they're going to be necessarily out of a day of work for this. This is cope. What are you talking about? Sorry, you couldn't see that. I'll move it back over here so you can see the quote. I want to be very clear. My shows are about music, community, and shared passion. I do not promote violence, hatred, or harm, and those who have attended my performances know that my focus has always been bringing people together through music. All are welcome. Oh, all are welcome, are they? You're a part of a white nationalist group, may I remind you, sir, whose entire doctrine is only one specific kind of person is welcome. What are you fucking talking about? Everyone is welcome. You can't just be a white nationalist one day and then choose to ignore it the next day. That's crazy. What are your values? Those seem to be two conflicting things of a personality. So one of them has to be completely fake and fabricated for money, right? And I don't think it's the one where you testify in Congress with the support of the president for. So, I don't know, buddy. None of this seems genuine whatsoever. Jumping back in. The live music scene should remain a safe and inclusive space for everyone. Artists, fans, venue staff, and local communities alike. Jumping back out again. You're a white supremacist, my friend. Why are you, what do you mean? What values do you hold? This is blowing my mind. What do you mean is an inclusive space for everyone? They don't feel safe around you because you testified on behalf of a hate group, on behalf of, may I remind you, a listed terrorist entity. That is why people don't trust you, you crazy son of a bitch. How is that lost on you? Insane. Absolutely insane. He's like, no, forget all about my hatred for a second and let me just be a punk rocker for a minute. No. You handed back your punk rock card the moment you put on that PB. And unfortunately in this video, PB doesn't stand for peanut butter or personal best. You proud boy son of a bitch. If my music is not for you, I fully respect your choice not to attend. However, I respect that disagreements remain peaceful and that the hardworking people behind these venues are treated with respect. Yeah, the people at the venues are going to be treated with respect. You know who's not going to be treated with respect? Nazis, fascists, white nationalists. What are you talking about, bud? You must disavow all of this. You must cast all of this aside in a very vociferous public display. Otherwise, you're going to be seen as a fascist, as a Nazi, as a white nationalist, as a bigot, as a hate-filled person. But none of that is actually the quote that brought me here today. The quote that brought me here today is an interview that this guy did with Rock Talks. Now, Rock Talks is not a gigantic outlet, not by a long shot. They're actually kind of a very, very small independent niche outlet because nobody else would ever talk to Michale Graves, okay? So God bless this guy. He brought him in. He was like, okay, say your thing. And this is him admitting that he knows that he is no longer welcome in the punk world and we all hate him. Roll it.
So are you going to try to reschedule the dates from the UK tour that sadly got canceled like a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah. No, there's no plans to do that. It's too much of a hostile environment, which is one of the reasons that I have pivoted the way that I am. I've gone, I've signed with this label and I'm doing these things that I'm doing. Not because I don't love that world, but I no longer exist in the punk world, in the rock world, in that heavy world. I'm hated. I can't exist there. There's too much hate. There's too much destruction. No, and so there's I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something different. I'll get back there to Europe. I'm not saying that I'm not going to go back there and play. But we're going to do it I'm going to do it a different way.
All right, so there you go. It's a hostile environment. He's going to go back to Europe in a different way. He's just got to play to other Nazis. That's how to do it. You just got to cater to the right crowd. They're out there, buddy. You'll find a crowd. I'm sure you will. There are hate-filled, bigoted people all over there. And to say that we're the hateful ones is absolutely crazy. We hate you, yes, absolutely. But we don't hate an entire group, let alone every other entire group for no reason. That's the difference. But God bless him, man. He tried. He's like, I want to get out there and I want to play some punk rock music to punk rock fans. It turns out, oh my God, you guys don't like Nazis? Oh, damn, man. Oh, shucks. It is wild to me that he would even think that it would be halfway okay, that he would even find half of an audience to come support him over here, especially in the climate that we have right now. If you want to play your music, you're going to need to find your people. These are your people. These are the kinds of people that you need to surround yourself with. And I don't know if these are the kinds of people that necessarily listen to the Misfits, buddy. So I don't know, you're gonna need to change a whole lot of stuff. You're gonna need to Kid Rockify your entire presentation. You did it to yourself. And maybe next year you'll find yourself on the alternative Super Bowl halftime show. But something tells me that's never gonna happen. Your time in the sun has come and gone, buddy. It's time to pack it up and pack it in. And if members of the Proud Boys come into this comment section, if other Trump supporters come into this comment section, that's fine, that's okay. They're gonna say their hateful things here to me. But that's why I pulled up these very official listings over here. My government and the encyclopedia recognizes the Proud Boys as a hate-filled terrorist organization. So if you want to cope or not, and you want to be like, no, it's not. I don't think that's what it is at all. Well, it is. I didn't make this part up. And these are the groups that he chose to testify for. I don't know, bro. He's cooked. And I bet he thought he was being such a revolutionary too. It's so funny. What a misguided soul. But back in the day, he really could sing. Point me to the sky above. I can't get there on my own. Point me to the graveyard. Dig up her bones. It was like that, but 100 times better. You should have been there. Anyway, goodbye, see you later, and have a good one.